So I actually make more money by a long way in bear markets. So bear markets for macro people tend to be very interesting. So if you think about a bull market, they tend to be long,
Mm,
and let's say they go up 10% a year,
okay.
okay, or 15% a year, something like that. That takes a long time. Bear markets, you probably get a 50% return in a 6 month period.
Yeah.
So with the ability to use futures or options, particularly options, you can take hugely leveraged bets in a very fast moving market where the markets have underpriced this risk. So that is where, when you're looking at the indicators, particularly around recessions, it's hard around geopolitical events and stuff because they tend to be more randomized. But recessions tend to be forecastable. And around that, you can start positioning yourself.
The cryptocurrency market witnessed a broader upside led by a strong momentum in the dominator, Bitcoin, followed by Ethereum. BNB, Solana, Avalanche, Litecoin, Elrond, Shiba Inu, and FTX token also added to the upside. As a result, the global crypto market cap was near $1.89 trillion, rising by 4.09%. Further, the total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is $91.92 billion, which makes a 9.94% increase. According to crypto guru and macro investor Raoul, Bitcoin and crypto markets are showing resiliency amid inflation and war. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Real Vision CEO Raoul updates about cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, the bull and bear markets, and the government regulations in crypto. At the end of this video, Raoul also makes a short-term price prediction for the crypto markets. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications. Let's dive right into the video.
So we're starting to see it happening in the US right now. We're starting to see the yield curve turning lower.
Yep.
Usually when the yield curve goes negative, a recession follows soon after. So then you're looking for business cycle indicators like the ISM survey or PMI surveys or sentiment surveys to start rolling over and going below 50, it is in the ISM, which tells you the economy started to potentially contract. Those kind of signals, and then a bit of technical analysis, will give you the timing. Now, there's no 100%, there's no certainties in this world. All we do as investors is look for putting probabilities in our favor.
Okay.
And the more experience you have doing that, the better you get at it. And the pandemic was one of those very obvious setups for us in the macro world. The economies globally were already slowing down. We'd had the trade tariff wars with China and the US. Trade was slowing down. Then the pandemic arrives. You saw the outcome in China, which was lock everything down. It went to Italy. Italy did the same. The moment that happened, you knew the whole world was going to follow suit and close their economies. And that looked like, okay, this is a macroeconomic event that we can not only hedge ourselves from, but actually profit from. There is a secret here. There are two types of drawdowns that you get. You get corrections and you get economic bear markets.
Okay.
Right now, across the world, we've been seeing markets sell off. Well, if we go back to my framework, the ISM is still positive. Global growth is still positive. Yes, it's rolling over. Yes, the yield curve's coming, but none of the economic signals are there.
Okay.
So really, you have to be quite lucky to capture those events.
Yeah.
And I would say I probably get, it's a very 50-50 hit rate, maybe less.
Okay.
Percent of those kind of corrections you can spot. They tend to be technical analysis, but you often have many false starts, and then finally it happens, and they're not great. If you get the other one, which is all the economic signals stack up, then I have 100% hit rate.
Sure.
No, that's 100% would be fair. I'm always early. So give me maybe get stopped out once, give it a go once, maybe even a second time, but the third time you make all the returns. So you might, lose 2%, lose 3%, make 30, 40%. It's thinking of the risk returns, but just picking market corrections, unless you're a really good trader, I tend to be slightly longer term. I tend to be 6 months to 2 years is my time horizon. Our ego wants us to pick all of these because it makes you feel right. Bears always sound smarter, and I've been a bear, a lot of the time. But realistically, you're better off to buy the dips than to sell the rallies. And India is a market where I have waited for a full structural bear market for 15 years. It just doesn't happen. So usually when you have currency weakness, you have higher inflation. And India's always had relatively high inflation. Over time, it's been coming down.
Yeah.
And, demographically speaking, it should get lower. And we've seen interest rates in India trend lower over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Much like they have in the rest of the world, but they're still higher than the rest of the world. So, but inflation has been generally higher than you see in the West. And that's one of the reasons is because you import oil oil and raw materials. India doesn't have many raw materials. It has intellectual capital. It's probably its biggest thing. So if you think of the falling rupee, each rupee buys less oil.
Yeah.
So the price of oil goes up.
Yeah.
So how do you offset that as a saver? How do you offset that? Well, what's interesting is cryptocurrencies are international products, and they tend to be anchored in limited supply. So Bitcoin has only 21 million Bitcoins that ever be created. So you have a digitally scarce asset, kind of like gold, but it fits in this new digital India world where, all of these things can connect easily. People are used to wallets and transactions and those kind of things. So it allows you to put savings in something that doesn't get devalued over time via inflation or falling. So that is that, but it also is another thing, which is basically it's a call option on this new technology, blockchain. So you're getting this store of value, which is very useful for Indians because of this issue with the currency, but you also buying this call option in the future of blockchain technology. And Indians of all people should be able to see the future of digitization. Everything is being digitized, and money and all of the infrastructure rails of the financial system and the internet is all going on blockchain. Well, the only way you do that is for the central bank to have it on their balance sheet.
Yeah.
Could they in the future? Possibly. There are some central banks that are already doing so, or sovereign wealth funds that are doing so. So it's possible, but that's not going to come. And it depends, does the oil producer, whether it's Iran or whether it's Russia or whoever you're buying your oil from, do they want it in Bitcoin? Do you have the Bitcoin? I don't know. So really it's about the individual or the corporation finding a way of hedging against these inflationary costs.
Okay.
So it's actually pretty interesting for, let's say, an oil refiner to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Because the value of in their treasury is maintained in purchasing power, while their rupee balances are worth less versus the price of oil, let's say. So there are some for individuals and corporations, interesting. For the government, I think it's one step too far right now. It's happening everywhere. So if you need to understand how the crypto space is.
Yeah.
These cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, particularly Ethereum and others, Solana, AVAX, Luna, these are the blockchains on which the applications are built.
Okay.
They're not the applications themselves, but they are networks, blockchain networks, that if we buy the token, we're participating in the network. So if you imagine that Facebook, the network owners are the people who own the shares. We as users of WhatsApp or Facebook, we just get the utility, but we don't get any value.
Right.
This new world of cryptocurrencies, users have a token. So it goes up in value. So everybody's a participant, an economic participant in the network. But that's that. They're called layer ones. After that is the applications layer. So the first thing that really came out was decentralized finance.
Yeah.
So again, to equate it to the Indian world, this is fintech, but fintech that's not being done by the banks or a small startup. It's fintech that is decentralized in nature. So algorithms matching flows and creating yields and all sorts of incredible stuff that just happens by algorithms. And it becomes, and some are centralized, some are decentralized, but this is basically the yields, the borrowing and lending layer, that fintech layer. So that's building massively. So that's our banking system, where I can now have my crypto, I can get paid a 5% interest, or I can lend it to you, I can do other things with it, or I can swap it for something else. All of the functions the banks provide us, but there's no middleman. We're not paying the bank. The next big thing that came out last year was non-fungible tokens, NFTs.
Yeah.
Real Vision CEO Raoul Paul also thinks that Bitcoin and other digital assets are holding up well despite facing a barrage of recent macroeconomic and geopolitical turbulence. The former Goldman Sachs executive says his short-term prediction for the crypto markets would be for prices to dip lower. However, the macro guru says that he's been pleasantly surprised by the crypto market's resiliency in the face of inflation and the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Paul says that while crypto prices are still susceptible to a significant downswing, he thinks the lows are in after seeing a 50% correction since last November. Looking specifically at leading smart contract platform Ethereum, or ETH, Paul says that ETH's price is currently slightly higher relative to its number of users due to the protocol routinely burning tokens after its mainnet upgrade last year. But despite everything, Paul has a positive outlook for Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2022. So what are your thoughts about Bitcoin's performance so far in 2022? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.